Three and take one.
Do it yourself, Del. Here, and I want to talk a bit about. I want to begin with talking about one of my favorite movies. This is a 1980 lower grade production, and it's called Raise the Titanic. Raise the Titanic. So it's the author of this story is Clive Cussler, and this was one of his early books, and this was the first book in his series that became sort of epic. And he allowed the film rights. He sold the film rights to this, but out of I'd say about 25 or better books with this protagonist named Dirk Pitt, he's only done that twice. Years later, he did it again for Matthew McConaughey in Sahara, they called it, and he was disappointed in both movies. So I'll get to that later. At any rate, in this story, the Titanic doesn't break in half like it did in reality, but it's still exciting, and this author is extremely imaginative, and he usually weaves two kind of stories that run in parallel, and then later on they get intertwined. In this case, there was a not real element called Bazanium, supposedly more powerful than uranium, and then also the story of raising the Titanic. So it stars Richard Jordan, a Harvard-educated actor, as Dirk Pitt. Now that's where the story deviates from what Clive Cussler wrote is almost immediate. And I'll get to that in a minute, but in case any of you have ever written a song, or in my case I worked for a small paper, and mostly as a photographer, and I would write occasional articles, the editor would always redline my best lines of what I had written, and he would do it flippantly and expeditiously. And so I didn't feel that was right, but that's reality. So what happened here was the same thing with what the author had written. Hollywood, I hate to use this expression, but they tore the guts out of the story. So things got changed. Dirk Pitt was not a National Underwater Marine Association employee. He was an independent contractor. In the book, he also had a sidekick named Al Giordino, not so in this story. And let's see. Jason Robards plays the vice president, and that's the same. Originally, he was just the biggest person in this new organization, but in this story, he was the vice president. So it also stars Anne Archer, she's always kind of picky about what part she plays, and David Selby. And also as a special treat, they somehow managed to get Sir Alec Guinness in this, and he was, I think, the guy in the late 50s at the bridge over River Kwai, and he had a really productive kind of movie career down through the years. So he's in it. He's got a terrific part, and so it kind of it begins in an island in the Arctic, and it's naturally all the countries want to claim a piece of it for themselves, and the two big powers, being the United States and the USSR, are concerned about this Bazanium. Each wants it for their own purposes, and miraculously, Dirk Pitt appears out of nowhere when this Russian guy is chasing somebody who found the mine where they mine this element, and he's got a dog, and he shoots the guy first, and then the dog is chasing him, and Dirk Pitt comes out of nowhere, kills the dog, and then he shoots the Russian guy and rescues the miner who found that, and then that's how the whole expedition begins, and it later involves underwater vessels that travel to the depths of 2.5 miles or whatever it is, or over 12,000 fathoms, and it gets quite exciting. And there's also a love triangle. Dirk Pitt's ex-girlfriend is David Selby's girlfriend now. And there's a kind of a twisting ending to this thing, but it moves along nicely. There's a guy named Jerry Jameson who directed it. There is also Clive Cussler had a small part in it, and Clive Cussler also in his books makes small parts for himself. Sometimes he's a boat captain or a prospector or just a little segment in the story where the protagonist runs into him. And the main reason I wanted to talk about this movie, besides being an exciting project that I think that Hollywood did pretty well with, is that I felt that it could have gone on. More of these movies could have been produced had they been done to the satisfaction of the author, and it could have been, say, a franchise for the actor, because I think Richard Jordan nailed the protagonist. He had that character down. He nailed it. But there was no, right around this time, I think a year later, was when Harrison Ford started the Indiana Jones franchise. So this could have done it as well, but the author was just not happy about the changes that were made. And so I figure over the years, the author has become extremely successful. His son now writes the Dirk Pitt series, and he's also branched out into different characters where they have assistant writers that get involved with the project. So he's done very well in the book business. But it just didn't work out with getting it transferred to the silver screen. So just check, make sure I'm not missing anybody here. John Barry did the music, and it's 115 minutes long, and Lord Grade, and Jerry Jameson I've mentioned. And so also I might have mentioned that Dirk Pitt in this project is an independent contractor. He takes jobs that are impossible and exciting and so forth. So it gets involved with racing the Titanic. I don't know in real life if they could have did it, but like I said, in reality, the boat had broken in two pieces. But here it was still one piece, and it worked. And so you have romance, you have excitement and intrigue. You got underwater adventures. You got unfortunately travesties, and they lost 3 guys in one of the underwater submersibles. It imploded just like recently at the beginning of summer. Here there were that billionaire and those people that went on that submersible, and that imploded as well. It's a dangerous business going in those things. And it also has a surprise ending. They do miraculously. The acting is impeccable. Jason Robards and Richard Jordan and David Selby and Ann Archer and Alec Guinness and several others. There's a guy who used to play Chief Peter B. Clifford in the McCloud movie NBC Movies of the Week. He's in here, and he's captain of the boat. He was also in Cool Hand Luke. And let's see. So anyway, the surprise at the end is that when they raise the Titanic, they look in a vault where they swore that where the Byzanium was stored, and they get it up and they check it with the Geiger counter, and it's all coming up empty. So they finally figured out that there's a phrase in the movie that keeps coming up. It's called "Thank God for Southby." Well, Southby was a place, not a person, and it was a place that had a graveyard. So Dirk Pitt and David Selby, the scientist, decided to go to this graveyard after they raised the Titanic and after they couldn't find this Bosanian because they wanted it for a defense project which would supposedly eliminate nuclear holocausts. And so they get to this graveyard. There's two guys ready to dig the grave up, and Dirk Pitt looks at David Selby, who he's been picking on the whole movie, and he says, "I'm going to leave it up to you." And David Selby he's the only character in the film that changes. When somebody experiences a catharsis, like say in The Great Gatsby, there's a guy named Nick. I forgot his last name, but he was a bond trader who lived in a small place next door to Great Gatsby. And in the end, he was a little bit wiser. He wasn't the same person he started out to be. Well, the same thing here with David Selby. He's kind of the wiser, and he's extremely upset that this element, this new element, he only thought of it could be used for good things, but also people were deviously planning to use it for bad things. It's that kind of thing. And so he was upset about that. But when they're at that graveyard, Dirk Pitt said that the Geiger counter is jumping out of the needles, just jumping out of the machine, and so they found it, and he leaves it to him, and then he's practically crying, but he says no. He says, "No, we're not going to dig it up." So that's how that story ended. And it was I shortened it up in some pretty good spots. But I don't think I did the movie justice. Originally, I planned to do it with the movie playing in the background. And just move along, watch the movie, talk a little, let the movie explain. Because of the music and the scenery and the acting and the story itself, it all collided together to produce a pretty good production. So I also wanted to take and compare this to a movie I had previously done, but to do it again, and that's called The Hunt for Red October. And then between these two things, and what I'd like to do is have a little commercial here, a little break on a different subject, which is, if you're like me and say times you just don't feel like going to the store to buy batteries, and you say you've at a time or two you might have purchased rechargers for batteries, and say, well, this is all going to work out pretty good, never have to buy any more batteries, and so I've had two rechargers cooking for a while now on a trickle charge, which that means trickle charge, you used to use it on motorcycle batteries. It means that it doesn't charge them up fast, it goes slow. And there's I'll show you what it looks like, one of them. And here it is. And we're not quite ready yet. Get my fingers out of the way. You see the two red lights there, and you see the green light in the middle, the trickle charger, and there's an AAA, and there's two AAs in there. And I checked both all four of these batteries before I put them in. And I have a caddy that holds different kinds of batteries in that. This is one side of it here. I'll get it close so you can see it. That's one side. You can see on the right there the smaller batteries. You can see the D batteries. You can see the 9 volts. And then on the flip side, you can see
extra storage for AA's.
There's more storage for the AAA and AA. And So anyway, you can separate everything and have it. And there's also in the middle, towards the bottom, that's what the battery analyzer says. It's a little needle, and you put a battery in, and you can tell how much of a charge the battery has in it. So these being cooked, I was hoping that I could show you that one of the red lights had turned green, but no such luck there. So, and then I have one other one, but I'll show you this charger so you can see what that looks like. That's what it looks like, and you can see you can line this up. There you are. Line that up and then just put the battery in, and then the needle will show in that compartment there. And so with the batteries in the machine, I'd hope that by this time they would be showing some sign of life to indicate that I'd done the right thing by using these. And I have a ton of AAs, which I didn't really need, but I got them, and then I got some 2032s, which I use for the tuners in my guitars. So that has place for storage of those as well. And I've got one more here to show you, and this one also, it's hot. These are your batteries for a digital camera. I think there's one regular and then 3 digital camera batteries in there. Now most of these digital batteries have been sitting a while. And when I looked at them on the indicator, they were in the yellow. Some of them were in the red, and let's see if I can get this. There it is. There, like that. See a little bit. Yeah, like something like that. And so you got the red, the green, and the idea is to get into the green. But some of them were in the red, and so the idea was that I wanted to show you that these things actually work, but we kind of jumped the gun. I didn't know that they needed this much more time to work, but I wanted to show you that in this case that recharging batteries is a good thing to do. Some of them say NiMH, and then some of them, I think the older ones were nickel cadmium. But the point is, if it saves you running to the store when you really need these things. Also, I'll show you why I use a lot of the AAAs. These kind of flashlights, when you have fresh batteries, they're pretty bright, and sometimes they don't take up much room, and they got a little handle for hanging on, but they take 3 of them. They take 3 AAAs. And I'll show you the arrangement here. So there that is. You can see the AAA kind of arrangement there. And so that's what I use mostly for. So, open the one light here. On the first item that I showed you, that one light has gone out. So I don't know if that means that they're fully charged. And what I could do is take one of the batteries out and check, which is what I wanted to do to begin with. So here we are again. You can see one of the AA pen light batteries on it would be on your left, my right. And I'm going to pull one out and check it with the analyzer. And it shows you which way to put the the positive side. You can see it right there. There. So there. And let's see how that lines up, right? That's like that. That's this. Okay. So, I'm glad we're doing this because not much has changed. See if I can get this straight there. 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 You can see that needle is way down in the red there. So after having this sit on the charger all this time and hasn't done anything for it. Let me just check again. Yep, same thing. So you can see the yellow there and the green is there. On that angle you can see the green way it would be on your left. And so right now I can't really recommend these things. Maybe at some point somebody will come up with something. So enough for our commercial, and I'll get to our second film. There's a reason, and this one's The Hunt for Red October. There's a reason that this is also one of my favorite movies, but there's also a reason why I wanted to do these two together. They have some commonalities involved. They're both undersea adventures, and the one actor who played Dirk Pitt in the first one, Richard Jordan, he's also in this one. He plays Dr. Jeffrey Pelt, who's an advisor to the president. So this one's got a cavalcade of stars in it. The 10 years later, and the budget was, I think, about $15 million more than what the original budget for the first movie was. And by no way means were these two movies connected by the people that did them. They're just connected up because I see similarities, and I wanted especially to talk about the authors in comparison. This one, the author in this one was Tom Clancy, and he invented that character named Jack Ryan in this project, played by Adam Baldwin. And he was educated in Baltimore at a loyalist. I'm not saying that right. At a college in Baltimore, begins with an L. And at any rate, he had a dream in his head. He was working for an insurance company as a salesman, but he had a dream in his head of writing a novel, which he did. This one. So this was his first time at bat, and this thing exploded. I mean, this was, I think, I'll put myself out on a limb here, I think the second biggest picture of the year. Sean Connery's career was kind of in the doldrums, and this thing picked him right up. There's a cavalcade of stars in this thing, which I'll get to in a minute. And so at any rate, there's a big difference of why I wanted to explain that, as you may know, the character of Jack Ryan keeps coming up. There's more and more productions with different actors, grant you, but still the same thing. So this author didn't say I'm gonna be, kind of chintzy with my rights, my filming rights to this one. He let everything go, and rightly so. I did, to make a long story short, and then I'll get into some of the other details. I finally found out that he was upset because there was a really good scriptwriter came in, name is Larry Ferguson, and he had an assistant named Donald Stewart, and he just had got done with Beverly Hills Cop 2, and they called him on this project right away. Well, he was pretty popular, pretty good scriptwriter, and he wrote himself a part. He played the chief of the boat, and in the movie you'll see him. But Tom Clancy even though he was upset with this guy for changing things from the book to reality to the screen, he didn't say, "Well, I'm going to take my ball and my books and go home, and we're not going to meet up anymore with making movies together." That was not his reaction. Unhappy, yes, but he maybe recognized that sometimes you got to compromise. So that were two different reactions of both, I think, great authors. So, at any rate, the Hunt for Red October was one of the most perfectly cast movies I've ever seen. My favorite is John Wayne's Rio Bravo. You know, it had Angie Dickinson and Dean Martin, and just all the character actors it was all spot on. And, well, this one too. And a guy signed up, once he signed, other actors were more confident to get in on the project, and his name was James Earl Jones. And he did, up to that point, a minority person was not given a higher up bureaucratic role to play in these kinds of movies, but he was playing a high up CIA guy. And so that was kind of a good thing about that. And let's see, who else is in this? Tim Curry's in it. From I don't know if you've seen Home Alone 2. Well, he was one of the management personnel at the plaza. Kind of a funny organization there with those people running it. And he played the doctor in this one, in the Hunt for Red October. There was Sam Neill was in this of Jurassic Park fame. Let's see who else. There was a guy in Bonanza named Hoss Cartwright, Dan Blocker. His son Dirk had a small part in this one as well. And when they run the credits, it takes a while. It takes a while for the credits to run through. And let's see, this one was directed by John McTiernan. And let me just check here for a second. Here we are. So Larry Ferguson was the script writer. Did a great job. 135 minutes this one is versus 115 minutes for Raise the Titanic, and I think Clancy did really well. And I haven't read the book. I've seen the movie a million times, but I first read the book recently, and there was a lot of items in here. It involves a lot of different aircraft. It involves a lot of different ships, a lot of different munitions, and they all have numbers and letters and everything. So you got to try to keep all that stuff straight. So it kept coming up and up in the book. And so if you're going to read the book, it'd be right to maybe get this stuff straight the first time you see it, and then every time it comes up afterwards, you'll know what is what. Okay. So, and this was Adam Baldwin's, I think, first major project. It put him on the map. And he did some things, they say about him, that he could memorize pages of dialogue overnight or in a short period of time. And there was a part in there where his character jumps hanging from a helicopter in a storm and trying to get onto this submarine. And they were running out of fuel and they had to get it done, so he just released himself and fell into the ice cold water. So they say, I think he might have done that gag himself and not hired a gag guy. So that's kind of heroic there. And let's see here. Can't read my own writing. Oh, Courtney B. Vance is in this one. He played Sonar Man Jonesy. He's a great actor too. Where they found so many incredible actors and put them in one project is just unbelievable. And So let's see one more thing here. Connolly. No. No. Sorry about that, can't read my own writing. But here again, this one has kind of what it's about, is that Sean Connery plays a Russian submarine captain. And his wife has over in Russia, medicine isn't what we take for granted here. And it was a common operation, I don't know, appendix or something, and it ended up killing her. So it had a bad reaction from him, and he decided that he was a submarine guy for 40 years. And by the way, as a footnote, when he was 16, when Sean Connery was 16, he joined the Scottish Navy, so he knows about Navy and Navy stuff and all that. So at any rate, the character he played was upset about losing his wife. And so he decided to get back. And when this new submarine, this Red October, came about, he decided, he formulated a plan in his head. He knew most of the officers and things because he had trained them. And he managed to manage a group of them together. And they had maybe devised a plan to defect within this brand new $4 billion submarine. It was bigger than the others, and it was designed to propel like 26 nuclear warheads, and it get so close to the coast of the United States and do a lot of damage, and nobody could defend against it because the damage would be done before anything happened. So at any rate, he felt that was not his philosophy for running a Cold War. And that was one of the things about this author too. He's got a way of devising stories and scenarios so that they appear like they could be real. And that's the kind of thing about this. And the movie starts by saying all these things happen, that the Soviets lost a couple of subs, and that neither country admits to having any of those things happen. So there's also a big part in here played by Scott Glenn. He operated the mechanical bull in Urban Cowboy. He was in Silverado, and with Kevin Kline. That was a Lawrence Kasdan picture. And so he's got a good part in this. And he also, sometimes they'll ask actors, did you research your role? And in this case, they had him on a regular submarine, and the submarine captain was amenable enough that the men answered to Scott Glenn as if he was the real captain whenever it was possible, that didn't disrupt their operations too much. And so that was 2 weeks of that, and he got the idea. So he had some ammunition to play his part pretty well, which he did. And so that was him. He played Bart Mancuso was his character's name. There's an actor in there named Fred Dalton Thompson, who was an admiral of the, Pacific Fleet or something. And then he had an assistant named Daniel Davis. They both had good parts in this. And this was, I think Adam Baldwin had done things before this, but he certainly put that Jack Ryan character on the map. And it's just is such a phenomenal piece of entertainment and piece of acting and so forth. And again, the music, Paul Dernovitz, I think, did the music, and it was Russian singing and so forth. And so if you like underseas adventures, both these projects work, and there were those common denominators, as well as differences. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while, but my ideal would have been to retain the VHS equipment and talk while the movies were running, which would have ran a lot longer than what we're doing right now. But that was, maybe, 4 or 5 hours maybe. I was hoping to do it that way and let the movie kind of do part of the work, and then just point out things and point out actors, because the way we're doing this now, I'm definitely forgetting some actors. That's some really good, important actors that are in this. And so we've got our, maybe we're a little bit wiser on our batteries. And maybe if you get a chance to see either of these two pictures, I like pictures, and I just, I've had a chance to scrutinize these two, and they keep coming up. If I have a chance to watch them over, I watch them over. And I'm going to yell out for the producer. Hey producer, let's race the Titanic. If I got a minute, maybe I could look at my writing again. Courtney B. Vance, Larry Ferguson, John McTiernan, Jim, Scott Glenn, Jason. Nope, still can't read my writing. Here it is, in case you want to take a look at it. Oh, Sam Neill. That's who I couldn't read there. Sam Neill of Jurassic Park fame. He had a pretty good part in there. He gets shot in the end, but so I think I've exhausted what I have to say on these subjects for now. How did we do time-wise? Oh, okay. Time for another commercial. Another foodie valve. We've got some Swedish fish. They look orange to me. They don't look the. There's the package. I like these things. I know these things come in rainbow colors. I'm holding things up in front of my screen rather than the camera. So bear with me on that. So let's take a look. These look more orange than that more like raspberry color that they're famous for. Let's see what it says. Nope, it doesn't say anything. Just Swedish fish. It doesn't have a special flavor. These things are gummy that stick to your teeth, but that's not going to stop me. And let me check my other battery here. Let's see if should have put it back in. Oh, here. It's going to take it a minute before it decides how far the batteries are along. So you can watch some movies and enjoy your Swedish fish. But I'll show you something I really like. I got bags of these, and I straightened it out a little bit so you can see it. Puffercorn. Cheese flavor. away. This is probably more like movie food. There. Producer, why does the camera say stand by?
I think that's because we're not recording, we're doing a live stream.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I got these.
Oh, good. Raise the Titanic, will fill them up with these things. There's the way to go. Java chip. And I think this is, yeah, sneak one out here, show you what they look like. There we are. And I think we had a Christmas house here. Where I put that? Let me just check a second. There it is. There it is. Buried underneath everything when I need it. There it is. Now let's see if I can get that glaze off of the light there. Let's see. Let's straighten that out a little there. No. There, something like that. So this is a bigger box. And shows you things on the back. Quite a few things, as a matter of fact. Let's see, like that. There. So we got our Christmas house. Oh, Halloween house cookie. So it's Halloween. It's not Christmas. Halloween. So we're a little bit behind in our productions here, and I'm going to take a bite of this one. What I'm eating is the Java Oreos. My Pringles all the way. There. About like that. Boy, these are great. And here's what the Java chip package looks like again. And I'm going to sneak another one out of there just to make sure I get this right. Make sure I like them. So I hope you've enjoyed my comments on the two movies, and I hope you please comment. Let's see if I'm lined up there. My mark, and I hope you found it entertaining. If not, write in some comments and we'll change things. How's that sound? I hope you enjoy your holiday weekend. What else we got? Oh, we need batteries for that? Do you know what size?
AAA.
Okay. Battery time again.
Dose.
Okay. Right. got several of these things. They tell the temperature and humidity and so forth. And let's see. Go like that. Go like that. Go like that. And like that. There it is.
Here's some loose batteries.
Okay. And put the cover on and we'll see how we go. Must have about 7 or 8 of these things in there. Here it has a little stand so you could just put it on a table or something. And there it's 62 and it's changing. So 62 degrees. And that should come up. And then what is it? 38 degrees relative humidity. And then it has the high and the low. This isn't the reality. In this room, 63 and 60. I think you can change it from Fahrenheit to centigrade or Celsius, excuse me. The relatives, assignees, and devices of Anders Celsius would get upset with me calling the other scale centigrade. It's Celsius, named after Anders Celsius, and I think the 16th century. And then the relative humidity is coming up, and this temperature will come up too. The room temperature in here is I think 73.2, so that will come up. But these are nice little devices to have around. There's also a little part in the back here where you can hang them up. You see a little part for a nail there or something, or an extremely small screw, and you just hang it up on the wall or set them up. I usually set them on tables. There's that. And my first battery outfit is still not doing right for the AAAs. That's why I didn't put the rechargeable AAAs in there, because they're still a red light. And what I could do is take one out and check to see if it's charging at all from what I left it at. Where is that? I don't see it in this mess. I shouldn't call this a mess. I should call it an organized studio. And, oh, here it is. Couldn't see it right there. Okay. So I think it goes like this. And there again. Well, I'll be darned. This is working. I take back what I said before. This is working. Okay. Now, let's see. That's upside down. So here. Okay. There. You can see. You can't see because of the lights. The way the lights are, the shadow of the part. But it would be on your left. You know, trying to hold the battery in by squeezing it, and it's not made for that, right? To turn it, to show it to you upside down would be easier. Over 2. Try it again. Here we go. Now set these down. Okay, so this thing actually is working, and if I would have left it in longer, I think it'll... Okay, there. You can see that needle is way off to your left. And let's see. There, it's in the green. Now if I can hold this battery in a certain way, it's definitely charged. Not all the way, but it's in the green. So you can see it. It's past the yellow and into the green. So this actually is working. So I'm going to put this back in and continue there. And so the red light's still on. I'll show you again. The red light's still on there. And there, like that. So the one on would be on your far right is the one I just tested. And you can see the red light above it and the one next to it, that they still got a ways to go until that light turns off. When the light turns off, like the one on would be on your left, the one still remaining there, then you would know that they're charged up. So I guess I take back what I said about, if I said anything negative about these rechargers not working. Get on your spot. There I am. And so I've changed my mind. It's just on the trickle charger, you got to be patient, because they've been on for, I'd say, about 3 hours or better. And it's going to have to take a little while longer yet. And the same thing on the other one. They're still in that medium part. In the medium part, the other charger has icons to tell you how much of the battery is charged. And those come up on a lot of devices, so that's pretty common there. So we got some movies to watch. We got, in case we need a flashlight, we got our batteries charged. We want to have a little snack while we're watching movies. We got some Oreos. We got some Swedish fish. And we got something else that can't be opened right now. There it is. Okay. So these are Corsini. Corsini Molino Bianco. So I'll get that up there so you can read that. Molino Bianco, Corosini, and then it shows a picture. It shows some chocolate in the background there. And let me take a look at it and take out what this looks like. Oh, these things look like they're in the shape of a heart. And get less finger there and see what we're doing there. So I'm going to take a little bite of these things. And I imagine they look Italian. They sound Italian from those names. So what is that? Barilla. In France, that Barilla, that would be Barilla. So maybe it's. These would go good with tea or coffee. Dunk them. Molino Bianco. Barilla. By Barilla. So I don't taste the chocolate in here, but they're showing it, so looks like there's chocolate chips in it. Well, there's more stuff for you to snack on while you're watching your movies. So what do you think, producer? Okay.
Good to go?
Good to go, folks. You heard him.
Anything else you want to say before we end it?
Goodbye.